Hey guys, Harrison1 back at it once again with a brand new video for you. Not gonna lie, it's 2:35 in the morning as I'm recording this on Saturday, May the 11th. It's quite a special day for me, and for my entire family, and I'll explain why in a little bit. This is actually the second time I've recorded this because I wasn't that happy with the first one, but I thought if I'm gonna do this video, I'm gonna do it right. And it's something I've been deliberating doing for about a year and a half. Because I didn't realise members of my own family watch me. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to make this video or not. But after talking about Asperger's like I did, it kind of gave me the bravery to go through with something like this. In case you're wondering, the gameplay is from Bejeweled 3. Picked it up on Xbox Live. If you know PopCap, you know what you're getting. Really fun, sweet little game. It's on half price right now in the Ultimate Collection for Xbox Live. It's for 600 Microsoft points instead of 1200. So if you're interested by the gameplay, if you know the game, you know what you're getting. Highly recommend you have a look at, or at least give the free trial a shot and see what you think. In the meantime, I'm going to talk about my sister Kendra, and I've kind of half mentioned Kendra, my sister, and what she's had to go through in other videos, but this is the first time I'm going to talk about it properly, in depth, you could say. So, 2 years, 4 months and 11 days ago, it was January the 11th, 2013. It was just a normal day for me. I'd just come home from uni. Kendra was like just wearing a nappy. She was 2 years old back then. I was 19, I think. Actually, no, I think I was actually 17 back then. God, I feel old. But basically, she was a bit ill. Like, she couldn't keep food down. She seemed to have a bit of a stomachache going on. So what happened was, we treated it like it was maybe a 24-hour bug or some kind of infection. Didn't take it too seriously. Just did normal kind of procedures for that kind of thing, like you try and give her water or like really light food like crackers, just thinking it may not have been that serious, may just be a passing bug, she'll be fine in a couple of days. And we've all had stomach bugs, right? You feel terrible for a couple of days but you slowly get better again. We thought it was something like that. Later that day though, it's like she was still puking. Like I sorry to be graphic, but she was like puking up bile and blood. Her stomach was empty. Like she was throwing up acid and the blood from her stomach. So we immediately knew this was a bit more of a concern. So what we did was that Mum and Dad dropped her to Hillingdon Hospital, who were about 10 minutes away by car. They're our local hospital. Dropped her off there. It was about 1 in the morning. We went to bed as normal, me and my brother. Didn't hear anything about it the following day. I went to uni as normal. My brother went to school as normal. Got home, it was about 5 in the evening. Again, didn't think much of anything really. We didn't get any word back from our parents who were both at the hospital. A little bit concerned, but again, nothing too serious. Until my grandfather's Jeep pulls up outside my house and my mum comes out and she's burst into tears, and at the time I could not think of why. And like, obviously seeing that and having never seen my mum so upset, alarm bells are immediately ringing in my ears, thinking what has happened. It has to be something really serious if my mum's like this. So we took her in, got her to sit down and calm down a little bit, and then she explained to us that Kendra's very sick. She's been diagnosed with leukemia, and we were like, what? For those who don't know, leukemia is basically cancer of the blood. The blood's infected, and as a natural defense mechanism, your body sends out an alarmingly high amount of white blood cells, and that if your white blood cell count gets too high, it can be extremely dangerous and obviously can cause death. So basically my mum had been dropped off home by grandparents to pack a bag because they were going to Great Ormond Street Hospital, like down in Holborn. Again, luckily we're a London family, so it wasn't a million miles away. but she was packing an overnight bag to stay down there, and she was started an extreme round of chemotherapy that night. Like, the doctors reckoned if we found out a day later, she may have died she may have died during the night and we wouldn't have known. We got lucky. We sent her into hospital as a precaution, because if we didn't do that, who knows what would have happened. But she was on the way to Great Ormond Street Hospital. Now, Great Ormond Street Hospital is in London as well. It's in the Holborn kind of area. It is probably the world's most famous children's charity and hospital. It's a hospital that specialises with children, diseases and illnesses involving kids. And as a charity, it gets aired a lot on television. I'm sure if you're British and you're watching this, you've probably seen a Great Ormond Street commercial at some point, like even in the last 6 months, because they do get a lot of TV time, they get a lot of good press, obviously, and a lot of famous people get behind it as a charitable organisation, you could say. And you see it on TV, and you think, thank goodness we're not in that position. Hashtag first world problems, you could say, or something along those lines. And you take those kind of things for granted so much. And like, I never thought I'd see the day where I'd be walking through the hospital myself, recognising parts of it and thinking, oh my god, I've seen this bit on TV. It is the definition of surreal. Like, I could never in a million years have imagined I'd be walking through the hospital I've seen so much about on TV, in advertisements, in charitable events, in documentaries. Like, I recognise parts of the hospital. It's incredible in the worst possible way. And what ripped my heart was I couldn't see that often. I still had a house to maintain. I still had a brother to take care of. Like, I kind of became a parent. I had to grow up pretty darn quick. I was this laid back 18-year-old teenager back then. Now I'm this 20-year-old, you could say, responsible adult to a degree, because I was laid back. I didn't take life too seriously back then, and then you're thrust into that position where basically my mum was staying at the hospital 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. She'd only come home during the weekends to make sure everything was okay at home. She'd do a quick tidy around, see if she needed anything, then would come back. Because Kendra was going through that chemotherapy, one parent had to be with her at all times. So what would happen was my dad would, every day, would come down the house, stay for a couple of hours to check we were okay for food and things like that, and to check up on us, and then drive back to the hospital. And he'd do that every weekday, while my mum was there 24/7. She'd only come home during the weekends, just to stay, get a couple of nights sleep in her own bed, and then back to the hospital while she was going through all the chemo. They'd have, my grandparents would drop in now and again. My mum's sister would drop in now and again as well. But I only got a chance to see her once, because I was food shopping in here. I was looking after Ryan and his schoolwork. He was only 13 back then. He only just turned 13 back then. So I was responsible for him. I was food shopping. I was looking after the house. But I was also juggling a part-time job, being on YouTube, making video blogs now and again, and juggling university. And it got too much to the point where I dropped out of uni a year early. Or not even a year early. I dropped out of uni, and I was already retaking my first year, but then I dropped out altogether to change course, and just so I could spend more time with Kendra as a result of all this. So I had to pretty much give up my first degree for her, and it was hard. I'm not gonna lie, it was hard and stressful on all of us so much, to the point where my dad got upset at the situation, to the point where he felt like his position at home was unattainable, to the point where me and my mum separated. And that was he left the house I'm in now permanently for good a year and a half ago. It was October 2011. The announcement was back in March, because I only got to see Kendra once during her initial, she was in hospital for 6 weeks straight at Gosh, Great Ormond Street for short, so I called it Gosh. A lot of people do, but I saw her once, and it was a sight that I'll never forget. It was me walking in, and I saw her, and she burst into tears when she saw me and run, because she hadn't seen us in over a month, and I did too. And like, she was wired up to a drip because she wasn't eating properly, and it's a sight that I'll never forget. Like, she burst into tears of happiness just seeing me, and she was visibly different. Like, there was blood coming out of her nose, where the drip was, and she'd lost like a third of her body weight. She was like a stone lighter. That's 14 pounds to you guys who use the metric system or the imperial system. She lost over 6 kilos in body weight, so that's about 14-15 pounds, which for a baby who was only 2 years old is a huge amount of weight. She was so much smaller. Like, she was just like she was like a year old again when she was actually 2.5. But she was smiling. She was just happy to be there, and you would never have guessed she was going through cancer and going through such intense chemotherapy. Because what chemo does is that it strips your immune system clean, because the chemotherapy can't differentiate between good cells and bad cells, so it kills everything. It wipes your immune system clean, and you've got to build it back up again. Like, when you have a child and you've got to give them all these injections for like malaria and MRSA and things like that. Like, you got to do all that again because the chemotherapy will strip her immune system completely. So basically, I don't want to sound like I'm being over dramatic, but back then a cold could kill her. Like, because her body would have no way of fighting it. So we had to be so careful. Like, 6 weeks after she came down, we managed to get her home, but then she got a high temperature. Now, you may not think that's a big deal, but like I said, she's got no immune system. That tends to be the first sign she's got an infection. Because she's got no immune system, she's incredibly weak. Well, she was incredibly weak back then. Where we had a procedure where if her temperature was over 38.5 degrees at any point, you send her to Hillingdon Hospital immediately. Now, Hillingdon's like another hospital which is kind of local to us. It's like 15 minutes down the road. So she spent a lot of time in there early on as well. She caught like 2 or 3 infections the first maybe 2 months she was at home. So the situation was getting worse. Like, my mum took a year off work, and her workplace were incredibly generous when it came to time off. They gave her the first 6 months with full pay, and then the next 6 with half pay. She eventually came back to work February 2012, but that was when Kendra was much more settled. The first year of the first 6 to 12 months of really intense chemo, back and forth hospital trips between here, Hillingdon, Great Ormond Street for lumbar punches, which is basically chemotherapy to the spine, and things like that. It was hectic, and like I said, my dad had enough. He moved out. I'm still not happy about that to this day, to be honest, but because he basically, for his own selfish reasons, abandoned my family, so he could try and find happiness elsewhere. At a time like that when we needed to be together the most, he ran away to a degree, and he felt like the only way he could find happiness he was about to turn 50, and you kind of used his diabetes as an excuse, you could say, to get out. He got out. So my mum was a single parent. Ryan was going through difficulties at school because of all the stress. I had to take time off uni to look after Kendra full time as well. So it was tough, and we all had to chip in, but it was worth it in the end. I'm not gonna say it wasn't difficult, because it was, but we got there in the end, and that was the most important thing. Like, it was a lot to go through, not gonna lie. The hospital trips were something else, and then Kendra had to go through the process of changing schools, because she was getting to the age where she had to start school. Like, this was like a year later, she was turning 4, and then we had to send her to, because she now goes to Ravenna Primary School, our local primary school, which is like 2 minutes away. But they had to make all these special arrangements because she's leukemic, so looking out for the key signs, and not having hair, because Kendra lost her hair twice. that was really difficult. Like, she was really unhappy about that because she loves her hair. Because she lost it once, it came back beautiful because she loved getting her hair plaited and things like that. And then, like about 6 weeks ago, we noticed it was falling out again. Her bone marrow was tired, and a side effect of that is you can lose your hair. And obviously, I think losing your hair is probably the most famous of cancer sufferers' side effects or traits, you could say. So that was tough too. But Kendra, for the most part, acted like you would never, ever, ever have guessed that she was leukemic. Like, she was always smiling, always happy. You like I said, you would never, ever have guessed that she was going through all of that just by looking at her. And my philosophy always was, if she's able to keep smiling, then so can I. And that's exactly what I tried to do, while juggling things like a part-time job and a YouTube account, and going back to uni like I did at the end of last year, back in September, starting my new broadcast journalism course as well. So all that was really difficult. But the whole chemotherapy thing is, people don't realise with leukemia, it's 2 years of care. If you're a girl, it's 2 years of leukemia treatment if you're a child. But if you're a boy, it's 3 years. I don't know why it's longer if you're a boy, to be honest. Like, me and Mum had to learn so much about cancer and whatnot, and treatment and, you know, procedures and whatnot over the last 2 years. It's been pretty crazy. But the first 6 months are always the most brutal. But then you after all the hospital visits and whatnot, we had the maintenance stage, and the maintenance stage basically involved doing a lot of the chemotherapy and work at home. So we got these massive prescription bags full of medicine. There's still many of them lying around my kitchen right now, to be honest. Spares. It's now spare medicine and something. But most of it was coming at home. She'd still go to a hospital like once or twice a month for blood tests and lumbar punches to the spine for more chemo and things like that. But it was much more laid back. It was more relaxed. It was more, doing things at home, trying to, have Kendra have kind of a normal life despite all of the school arrangements and all of the hospital visits that still came up like every month and things like that. But things were easier after that first maybe 9 months or so. Like, Mum went back to work February 2012, Kendra started school September 2012. But yeah, she got all her weight back as well, which was always good. She's now a big baby, trust me. Like, she's 4.5 and she's huge now, I'm telling you. Our Harrisons were born big. I was a 9-pound baby. My brother Ryan was an 8-pound baby. I think Kendra was an 8-pound baby as well, so we're all big. Which is weird because my mum's like 5'4". It's weird. But anywho, fast forward into now. Today, the reason why today is a special day, and the reason I'm telling you all of this, is because today, your day you're watching this, May the 11th, 2013, is her end of treatment day. 2 years, 4 months, and 11 days after her initial diagnosis. That's the end of all the treatment. I mean, I'm not going to lie, she's not totally out of the woods yet, because it can come back, leukemia. But, I mean, it could come back most often in the first 5 years. There's not enough research to say, to say for sure, because it's still a fairly new disease in terms of research and whatnot. But at her age, there's about an 80% chance of a full recovery, which is fantastic odds. 80%, I mean, that's 4 out of 5. Of course, it's sad that it's not 100, but I'm sure a lot of parents were told that their kid had an 80% chance of recovering from leukemia. They take you and then they bite your arm off just to make sure you weren't kidding. So it's incredible. She was announced as being in remission about a year ago now, which is basically means she's cancer free. This whole maintenance treatment has now basically been to try and make sure that it doesn't come back. And now Great Ormond Street and Hillingdon now think that it's okay to take her off the treatment and see what happens. She's still going to get blood tested like semi-often, like maybe every 2 or 3 months for the rest of her life, just to make sure. Because like I said, it can come back at any time. Like, I know people who've had it come back when they're like 13, 14. It's crazy. But like I said, she's cancer free. We've got to make sure it doesn't come back. She'll still be blood tested. Her port, which she was getting her medicine and her blood test from, it's got to be flushed and removed like a month later. Like I think in June we're doing that, or July. I'm not 100% sure on that. But the good news is that for now she's made a full recovery. She's cancer free, and we can hopefully, with a little luck, try to live a normal life again. It's been tough because of all the things, like I said, separated parents. My mum's now a single parent. I'm now having to juggle uni again. My brother's now going through GCSEs, and this has dominated our lives for 2.5 years, and will continue to do so for a little while longer. But it's good news. It's all been good news for the most part ever since she was diagnosed, in terms of making a recovery and making the right progress, and there was no major delays in her treatment as it's gone on. So for those who have been wondering and those who have been asking, don't worry, I haven't ignored you. I was saving it for this kind of video. Now I've got to say a few more things as well. God, we're already 21 minutes in, my word. But I also want to say, obviously, a special thank you to all the incredible doctors and nurses of Great Ormond Street Hospital, Hillingdon Hospital, and Ealing Hospital as well, because they were the ones who first found out that it was leukemia. If it wasn't for them and their quick response, a life may have been lost. But for the most part, Great Ormond Street and Hillingdon, their doctors, their staff, their incredible dedication and hard work, the whole Harrison family are eternally in their debt for what they've done. They are, I would call them heroes, but I wouldn't be giving them true justice, because they are truly incredible people. They've had a monumental impact on all our lives, and they're not just doctors, they're friends to us now. They're part of the family almost. It's kind of crazy, but they've done such an incredible job, and they deserve all the love and respect in the world. Great Ormond Street and Hillingdon, they're heroes, and that word gets thrown around a lot, but they truly are. They do such an incredible job. They never even ask for a thank you in return, and they saved my sister's life. I can't say any more than that, and I'm so grateful for them. I can't even begin to describe it. There are no words. There really aren't. So thank you to all 3 of those hospitals and their incredible team of doctors and nurses. And please, if you're local, go out of your way, sign the petition, save Ealing Hospital, please, because again, my sister wouldn't be alive if it weren't for them. So if you're local and you're watching this, please do what you can, obviously within reason and whatnot. A thank you to my mum, because my mum is my greatest inspiration in life. She's had to go through so much I don't know how she's done it with the stress, and we've not been perfect kids. I'll be the first guy to admit that. And she's had to fight so hard for what she's had to do, and to learn and embrace this nature of hospital visits, the 6 a.m. starts to take her down on the train to Great Ormond Street, the going through school processes, the constant phone calls to pull her out of school. I could go on for half an hour alone about what my mum's had to go through, but she's truly incredible, and I don't know how she does it. To this, I will never know how she does it. I will never truly understand, and I'll be the first person to admit that. She's absolutely incredible, and that's my mother. And Denise, I don't know if you'll ever end up watching this, but if you do, I love you so much, and you're truly incredible. And my heart will go out to you forever. And, God, it's tough. No, Jnauary, get it together. You're finishing this commentary. But finally, I want to thank each and every one of you. I know many people on YouTube won't know this story, because many of you guys are new viewers, but a lot of you guys are older viewers, and like I said, I've referenced this before, but never really spoken about it in depth or in length properly. But the people who have on Facebook and on Twitter, who have sent well wishes, concern, support, encouraging and motivating words towards me and my family over the last 2.5 years. I can't begin to describe how grateful I am for all of you. From the bottom of my heart, on behalf of the whole Harrison family, thank you all so much for the support, the kind words, the advice, just getting behind me. I run out of superlatives to describe you. I have so much love for all of you right now, and you will have a place in my heart, all of you, because I can't even put it into words, but thank you all so much. I mean this. I'm struggling to even find the words here, but you guys are incredible. You're the best friends. You're my family, all of you. And again, I couldn't have done this without you. The fact you've all been so behind me. I've never had that kind of support in my life before, ever. And the selfish person in me wishes it wasn't over something like this, but at the same time, I'm so incredibly grateful for it. So thank you all so much for that. Finally, the reason I made this video was because I could find a way to give something back. And I wanted to give something back by doing something I love, which is making videos and being able to entertain or inform people. So, as a final act in this video, what I'm going to do, first of all, you may notice this video is ad-free. I don't want to profit in any way out of making this story. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to donate my entire Machinima Paycheck for the month of March. It's either March or April. I think it's April that's next. For my Machinima Paycheck for YouTube from the month of April will all go, 100% of it, to Hillingdon Hospital. And on top of that, for every like this video gets through the month of May, for the rest of the month, I will give 20 pence to Ormond Hospital. If it gets 50 or more, I'll double it. So you can work it out. Like 100 likes, for example, that will be 20 quid, and I'll double that. So that's what I'm going to do. It's my way of giving back, and I've wanted to do something like this for a long time, and I felt like this would be the right time to do it. So this is my way of giving back. So if you've been moved by this, or you want to support me or support a great cause, and if you want to donate directly, I'll put a link in the description too for Great Ormond Street Hospital. So you can just, if you can do one thing for me, you don't even have to like the video. Just take a couple of minutes out of it. Just take 2 minutes out of your day. Check out the website, work out, just have a look at what they do, because they are truly incredible and they deserve more recognition than they get. And that's just not just from this video, but in general. They are incredible. They are the best in the world at what they do. And I'm not just talking about Chris Jericho references either. They truly are. So if you want to donate directly, you can do so on their website in any currency anywhere in the world. And if you want me to do it, to donate a little bit, just leave a like on the video. But like I said, that, and I want to give back to both charities. So that's my way of giving back, by doing something I love doing, which is this, I suppose. I hope you guys have I don't want to say enjoyed, but had this video here. Maybe you've learned something. Maybe you've come to appreciate me. I don't know what to expect out of this, or how this is going to go down, but I'm going to do it, and I'm going to see what happens. I've been talking for nearly half an hour straight. My voice is gone. It's 3 in the morning, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I really do. Or however you want to take it, let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Sayonara, guys.